We're going to be looking at some tactical activities which you should be using to make sure that your Facebook page is firing on all cylinders, you're maxing it out, and then I'll share with you some tips and strategies to increase the impact of all the effort that you're putting on your Facebook ads and on Facebook. And let's start with strategy number 1. Now, you know that the organic reach of your Facebook posts will fluctuate between 2 to 5% depending on the size of your Facebook page in terms of fan likes. And if you want to increase the focus of the reach of that post, by which I mean, if you have a page which has, let's say, 1,000 fans, and those fans have come from different countries, different age bracket, both genders, and you've created a post which talks to only a small segment of those fans, how do you ensure that that post reaches only the fans that you're interested in? Because sometimes, you write posts which are one size fits all and is meant for everybody in your fan page. And sometimes you write posts which are meant for a specific segment. Like, let's take a specific example. Let's assume that Coca-Cola in India has a fan page and has 10 million fans. And they are carrying out a scheme, a promo in one town, for example, let's say in Lucknow, or city, for example, Lucknow. How do they ensure that the post that they create is read only by those fans in Lucknow? Now, there's a way to do it, and that's what we're going to discover right away. So to do that, first you've got to come to settings in your page. I'm currently in my page called test account, and go to settings. Let's open it up. And you come to something called newsfeed audience and visibility for posts. Okay, this is the ability to narrow the potential audience for news feeds and limit visibility on your posts. So I'm going to edit this, and you have to ensure that this box is clicked. Allow newsfeed audience selection and click save changes. Now what you can do is, when you create a post, you can define who sees the post. So let's go back to our page and let's create a test post. So I'm going to do that. Test post. And you can see this little crosshair which has now appeared, and it will appear under every post you create now that you've clicked that little checkbox. And if I click it, I can define who sees my posts. Within my entire fan base, if I have a large fan base, I can define who sees it. So for example, if I want this post to be seen by only people who are interested in football, I would click interest football and look at some of the options, and you can click quite a few more. So for example, if I wanted to click, let's look at Manchester United. Click that. So now my post, which I'm writing at the moment, will only go to my fan base who are interested in football and Manchester United. I can, narrow it even further by age, by gender, by location. So if you have a fan page audience which is spread across the country or even international, you can, be as specific as you want, and you can be as specific and go down to a country or even cities. So once you do that, you now have the ability of and not just newsfeed targeting, you can also do audience restrictions, which works in roughly the similar way. Once you do that, this test post will only be seen by those people. So that's how you ensure that you optimize the delivery of your Facebook posts when it goes out organically. Of course, when you are posting and boosting your post and you're paying money, advertising dollars, then you can even promote it to your audience outside of your fan base. But if you're only looking at your fan base and you want to improve the efficacy of the reach, this is the way to do it. The next tip I want to share with you is the entire concept of native versus third-party videos. Now remember that on Facebook, videos is big deal. Okay, a video that you upload into Facebook is called a native video. And a video that you import from a site like YouTube, for example, and you embed it in a post is called a third-party video. Facebook is giving a lot of impetus to video, both in terms of advertising or your reach of your posts which have video will always be higher than posts which have just images or just text. Because Facebook is now seeing that there's much higher engagement and interaction by its users on its platform with posts that have video. So if you upload your video directly into Facebook, it's called a native video. And if you embed it from YouTube or any other third-party provider, it's called a third-party video. There is a fair amount of statistical data and evidence which shows that native videos outperform third-party videos. So let me share that information with you, and we will go to this little bit of data. Now, this was taken a while back by an agency called the Search Engine Journal website, and they compared native videos on Facebook with videos on YouTube, and they found, all things being constant, all things being similar, videos which were natively posted on Facebook had twice the number of likes than those which came in from YouTube, 3 times the number of shares, 7 times the number of comments, and organically reached twice the number of people versus YouTube embedded videos. So if you have a video that you want to share on your page, try to get a native video upload rather than taking it from YouTube or any of the other sources and putting it on your page. All right. The next tip is that, you want your organic reach to reach as high as possible, to go beyond the 2% and 5% that Facebook gives you. So your objective should be to get as many of your fans to see your post immediately. Now, how do you do that? How do you ensure that 40%, 50%, maybe even 100% of all your fans see your posts? Is that possible? Yes, it is. What you've got to get them to do is to come to your page, come to this little link here which says following, and they have to do 2 things. So let me just scroll up. They have to click see first and move this little arrow button from default to see first. What this means is that in their newsfeed, every time you post, the first post that they will see will be your post. And they have to ensure that notifications move from all off to on. So they have to do 2 steps, and of course they have to like the page also. Once they like the page, they have to do these 2 things. Now, a question that you may have is, how do you communicate that to your fan base? How do you do that? What I have found is that you could write a post and pin it to your page, but a better way to do that is to create a brief video. So I've created first a little important instruction here that you can read, which is, important. Please watch this 1-minute video to get the latest live broadcast straight into your Facebook newsfeed as soon as it's released. And remember to unmute this video while watching it. And I created a short 1-minute video using a very simple free software called Jing. That's www.jing.com, which is a screencast capturing software. And I created that little video. I told them what they needed to do. I uploaded the video, created this post, and I pinned it here. And that ensures that when people come to my page, they're able to click it, watch what needs to be done, and take action. So if you were to, let's watch a few seconds of this video. I broadcast live on Facebook every day on the latest in job search strategies and career planning. And I'd like you to be notified instantly when a new Facebook live video by me is put up. So to do that, here's what you need to do. Come to this tab here which says follow, click it, and here. So as you can see, that's a little walkthrough which I have created, which allows people to ensure that whenever I post, my post is the first post that they will see in their news feed. The next tip has to do with the use of hashtags. Hashtags have been done to death, and in the early days when people discovered hashtags, it was quite common to see posts with 5, 6, 7, even 10 hashtags attached to the post, especially on Twitter. And people have been looking at, have been trying to dissect the data and look at, are hashtags really effective? Are they useful? Do people evaluate hashtags? And if they do, then what is the optimal number of hashtags your post should have? So I looked at some data from an authoritative source called Social Bakers. And here's what we found. They found that interaction with posts were the highest if the post only had 1 to 2 hashtags. And as you increase the number of hashtags, the same post had much lower interactions, likes, clicks, shares, etc. So just keep that in mind, that when you create a post, the post should have maybe between 1 or maximum 2 hashtags. The next tip is another way actually to get your post to go viral without paying any advertising money. And in fact, that's what we want, right? We want a post to go viral. We want maximum visibility for a post, preferably without spending advertising money. So what you should do is a 2-step process. One is, after you've created your post, for example, this is a post that I created. And once you've created your post, you should ensure that you share it. Now, what most people do is they certainly share it on their timeline, because that is the default option. And they write something about it and share their post on their personal timeline, and it gets read by their friends. But very often, your friends are not your audience. So if you're running a business which caters to teenagers and millennials, and let's say you're in your 40s, your friends are not teenagers. Yes, they may be parents of teenagers, but they certainly are not the direct audience. So when you share a post like this on your timeline, you may not be talking to the right audience. The ninja tactic here is first to join Facebook groups which target the same audience as yours. So for example, if you have a business in helping people learn how to find jobs like I have, then I would first go ahead and join groups which are groups of job seekers. Next, once I've created a post like this, I go and share it in a group. Now, these are groups not only that you have created, but you can share it in a group of which you are a member. And some groups are very, very large. It's quite common to see groups in job search in the 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, 100,000 number. And when you share it there, it gets seen by a lot of people very quickly. So I could, for example, type in, let me see if I type in job. Here are some of the groups that I'm a member of. And, let's take Bangalore job seekers. I could click this, and then I press post. My post will get posted in the Bangalore job seeker group, which is a very large group of, aspirational job seekers. So this is a way by which every time you write a post, you should share it in groups which have got some level of complementarity with the audience that you are talking to, and should be a part of the overall universe of the business that you are in. Next, we come to posting frequency. How often should you post, and where is the declining engagement with posts? What is the ideal sweet spot of the number of times you should post a day on your page? So there was a very interesting study done by Trender a couple of years back, and what you see in this graph is for brands which are media companies. In 2014, they were posting about 5 times a day, and that over time has gone to above 8 times a day. Whereas brands, and you and I would probably fall in this bracket of being a brand or a company or a small business, would fall here. They were posting 2 times a day, which is by and large remained constant, or maybe move to 2.5 times a day. But if you look at the number of times you post a day with engagement, and let's move to brands, this data is important for us. What they have found is, as you increase the number of posts that you post on a daily basis, the reach starts dropping dramatically. So the first post will reach more people, the second a little lesser, the third a little lesser, and then it's like a hockey stick curve, inverse hockey stick curve, where it sort of declines dramatically. So keep this in mind. You don't have to go overboard by trying to post 5-6 times a day. In fact, it's often very, very annoying for your audience to get 6 posts a day from you. I would suggest that between 1 to 2 posts a day is sufficient. Just make sure that the posts are of good quality. The next thing you've got to figure out is, when is the best time of the day to post? Just because it's convenient for you to post at 11 o'clock in the morning may not be the best time for you to post, because your audience may be asleep. If you're, for example, targeting BPO workers who do the night shift, for sure at 11 o'clock in the morning, they may be asleep. So it's important to figure out when is your audience on Facebook and do a certain amount of testing. Now, when you come to your page and go to Insights, okay, click Insights and come down to Posts, and you will see when your fans are online. And I can see that my fans peak at about noon, and then somewhere at about 9:30, 10. So given the fact that a Facebook post has a life of about a couple of hours, 8 to 10 hours, maybe 12 hours, it may make sense for me to post at around noon because it gets seen by a large number of people. If you were targeting homemakers, then this graph looks very, very different. So this is one metric to keep in mind. The other metric is over a span of a month, in week 1, post at hypothetically at 9 a.m. and then every day measure the likes, clicks, shares, the overall engagement rates of those posts. In week 2, post in the afternoon. In week 3, post at 7 o'clock. And in week 4, post at 9 o'clock at night. And then evaluate the engagement through the various weeks and see in which week do you get the maximum engagement. And that is the week that you should anchor as the time when your fans are most likely to engage with your posts. So this is a little bit of work that's required, but it yields great dividends when at the end of your posting you find that you have a highly engaged audience on your Facebook page. The last tip regarding Facebook pages is, all the other tips are tactics, but all the tactics come to naught if you don't create good content. So the underlying hypothesis is, please create rock solid great content that your audience wants to read, like, click and share. You can take inspiration from articles, you can post other articles on your page, and you should post a lot of video, post a lot of pictures, have quality content that people look forward to receiving. And once you do that, then all the other tactics that I've shared with you sort of layer on top of your great content and make your post grow viral and increase the popularity of your page. Now, having said that, having gone through these tactics on your Facebook page, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the other things that you should do on Facebook to ensure that you have a great presence. So let's go ahead and start with how to get more followers for your Facebook page. Look, we all want more followers, right? We all want a page which shows a large number of people on it. So what do? Now, let's go to my page. First thing that you've got to do is to promote it. The only way to get more fans on your page ethically is to promote it. You can't avoid that. What you can do is to be smart about the amount of money you spend to getting a large number of fans. Let's assume you have a business which is international in nature, and it doesn't really require you to have an audience only from India. Now, if that's the case, and you want to show that you have 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 fans, then what you should do is promote your page in countries where the cost per click is very low. Now, keep in mind that the cost per click in India, let's say if it's X, the cost per click in the developed world like India, like the US, Canada, Australia, the UK, would be about 3x or 4x. But in certain countries, it's even lower than X. And those countries are in Africa, Eastern Europe, other countries in South Asia. So target those countries which are English-speaking countries and promote your page there, and you will get a lot of fans at a much cheaper cost per click than even India. So if you do that, if you take a healthy mix between India and some of the other countries, you will get a large number of followers, lots of page likes, lots of engagement at the cheapest rate possible, and we will be able to show a page which is incredibly popular. The next thing I'd like to share with you is, how do you ethically spy on your competitors? How do you figure out how well they are doing, what is their level of engagement? And the aim is to look at the kind of content that they're posting so that you can post similar, not identical, but similar content and increase the quality of engagement with your fans. Now, Facebook allows you to do that in a very ethical manner, for which you've got to go to Insights and you will come to Overviews. Now, when you look at Overviews, just scroll down and you come to something called Pages to Watch. Now, under Pages to Watch, you could have up to 5 pages that you can add. And when you add the page, so all you have to do is click Add Pages. And you can click the name of any page you want and add it to this list. Once you do that, you can see, for example, how many page likes that page has. And this is just an example, although they're not in my industry at all, but this is just as an example. And I can see, for example, that the page likes have increased by a particular percentage. They posted 4 times this week and they had 12 engagements. Now, if I click here, I can see the top posts that had the highest level of engagement on their site. Okay. So this allows you to look at up to 5 pages and see their top pages in terms of engagement. And you can therefore spy ethically and legally on your competitors and see what they're up to. If you are a small team or if you're a single person and you want to keep an eye on competition, I think this is a priceless way to monitor what's happening around you in your industry. The next tactic is more about housekeeping, which means that, once in a while, it's a good idea to back up all the data that you have on Facebook just in case your account gets shut down. So how do you back up your data? Come to Settings. Okay, scroll down and you come to this link here called Download Pages. Click it. Click Download Page and click this green button which says Get Started. And you will see that all your posts, photographs, videos, and everything that you can see here will get downloaded into a zip file and you will be able to store it on your hard disk. You'll be able to download it onto your computer. So once a quarter, it's a good idea to have a backup of your Facebook page, especially if your Facebook page is old. It has matured over a span of a couple of years and there are some priceless pictures, images, videos, comments, etc. that you want to keep. Until you download it once in a while, everything resides on the Facebook servers. And if, God forbid, they decide to terminate your account for no reason, you might lose everything that you have. In the next tip, I want to show you how to download any video from Facebook. Actually, Facebook does not give you a way to easily download videos which are uploaded onto their servers, but there's a way to do it and you may want to use it. So let me show you how to go around doing that. So let's change it. Let's go to, hypothetically, the Coke Studio India website. Let's see if they have any videos which are interesting. Now, let's wait for it to open up. Let's close this. And let's look at some of their posts. I saw videos on top, but I'm trying to see if there's any. Aha. So here's a video, and let's assume that you want to download it and save it on your computer. There is no button here. Even if you press this, you can embed the video on your site, right? But you can't download the video. So download the video, what you do is, let me just ensure that the volume is low. Start playing the video. While it is playing, right click and say Show Video URL and copy this, open it up in another browser. So that is the URL of that video. And then replace www with M. And now you have a mobile version of that video. So let's play it. And while it is playing, right click and you can save the video as an MP4 file on your computer. you can save that video as an MP4 file on your computer. So that's how you can download videos of Facebook. Do remember that when you download videos, that you have the intellectual property rights to do that. Ensure that you're not violating any trademarks, any copyrights, there are no infringements, that you don't edit that video, because Facebook does not allow you to download videos from the site. You can at best embed some videos. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now, after video, let's move ahead to a common problem that a lot of people have, which is, how do I get great images for my page? Getting images is a perennial problem. You want images which are not stock images, because stock images look really boring. They shout out from a mile that it's a stock photograph. And if you take a subscription to a stock photograph site, like Shutterstock, you pay quite a packet to download images. But you don't need to do that. And I'm going to show you a couple of sites which have beautiful photographs, which you can use, which are royalty free. There's no license fee to be paid for them. You can just download and use them. So let me just shut down all these other tabs. All right, the first one is called Pexels. This is a beautiful site. It's my #1 site for getting photographs. And just as an example, suppose you have a page which is about cooking. Here are lovely photographs. As you can see, they have a lot of depth and character when it comes to the kinds of photographs, the imagery. It's far, far, far better than any stock photography. So Pexels, PEXELS.com is the site that you need to look at. The other one is stocksnap.io. Okay, again, beautiful free stock photographs, high resolution. And let's look at coffee here. And you can do any search you want, but I'm just, for the sake of for brevity, looking at just a few pictures. Once again, very high quality pictures which you can download and use in your Facebook page, in your posts. Apart from that, another site is Unsplash. Unsplash also has, for some reason, I seem to be clicking on food and cooking quite a bit today. As you can see, high quality photographs which are very, very pleasing to the eye. So these three sites are my top destination for getting great photographs, and I'd encourage you to also look at them when you need images, when you need pictures to use for your posting.